In a world that constantly pulls your attention outward through noise, distractions, comparisons, it is easy to lose your center. But the one who learns to turn the gaze inward, who embraces stillness, begins to reclaim clarity. Before we can affect the world outside of us, we must learn to be in harmony with what is within. Silence is not the absence of noise. It is the presence of awareness. In this silence, we begin to observe the restless mind. We see how thoughts arise, how emotions fluctuate, and how easily we become pulled by them. But when you remain still and not controlled by reaction, you begin to regain your power. This is why focusing on yourself is not selfish. It is necessary. Because if you do not understand yourself, how can you understand others? If you do not know peace within, how will you ever bring peace to the space around you? True discipline begins here, not with controlling the outside world, but with mastering the reactions that arise from within. Stillness is your training ground. It is your mirror. It is the first step on the inward journey where everything begins to fall into place. Many people attempt to control the world outside them, circumstances, people, outcomes. But this is like trying to tame the wind. The more you chase control, the more you become a slave to the chaos. Instead, learn to master yourself. When you do, the need for control vanishes. Self-mastery means knowing your habits, your tendencies, your triggers. It means becoming the observer of your own life. And then, little by little, reshaping your mind with conscious intention rather than unconscious reaction. This is how peace is found, by not needing the world to behave in a certain way for you to be calm. Ask yourself, where is your attention? Is it scattered across opinions, validation, or fear? Or is it anchored within, where it cannot be shaken? A mind that is not trained will run wild like an untamed horse. But a mind trained by discipline, like in Shaolin practice, it becomes a powerful ally. When you master your breath, your posture, your thoughts, you realize nothing external needs to change for you to be at peace. This is the secret of the wise, freedom through mastery of the self, not the world. Discipline is not something you turn on only when you feel like it. Discipline is a way of being. It is a daily decision, a commitment to return to your practice even when there is no applause, no audience. True growth happens in silence, behind closed doors. In the Shaolin tradition, we train every day. Not for the sake of being seen, but because every repetition shapes the body, every breath shapes the mind. It is through consistency that transformation takes root. Like water slowly wearing down stone, small efforts over time create deep change. Most people seek quick results, but they ignore the value of sustained effort. They give up when they see no immediate reward. But you must trust the invisible process. Just because the fruit is not yet seen, it does not mean the roots are not growing. If you focus on yourself and your practice, your mental, physical, and spiritual development, you will find that eventually, life begins to align. What once felt chaotic begins to settle. What felt heavy begins to lighten. Not because the world changed, but because you did. One of the greatest distractions on the path of self-mastery is comparison. You see another's success and you begin to doubt your own journey. But the bamboo does not compare itself to the oak. It simply grows rooted in its own nature. When you focus too much on others, you lose energy that could be used to build yourself. Comparison creates anxiety, resentment, and insecurity. None of these emotions are useful to the one walking the path of growth. They are obstacles, illusions. Every person has their own path, their own timing, their own challenges. You do not see the struggles that exist behind another's smile. So instead of looking left and right, look within. What can you improve today? What can you let go of that no longer serves you? When you embrace your unique path, you begin to walk with peace. And ironically, as you stop competing, you begin to rise naturally. Just like the lotus blooms without competing with the flower beside it, your growth becomes inevitable when you stop looking outside and focus within. Before transformation can happen, you must first see clearly. Awareness is the light that reveals your blind spots, your patterns, and your tendencies. Without awareness, you are asleep, even if your eyes are open. You are moving, but not consciously. To become aware is to slow down. To observe. To ask questions without judgment. Why do I react this way? Where does this fear come from? What am I avoiding? The moment you begin to ask such questions, you shift from being the victim of your life to the creator of it. Awareness creates space. And in that space, new choices are possible. You no longer act out of habit, but from intention. This is how you begin to take back control, not of the world, but of how you meet the world. Everything begins with awareness. Without it, you are lost in the waves. With it, you become the sailor who knows how to navigate. And in this way, as you focus on building this awareness, the rest of your life begins to align naturally. Many people train the body. Fewer people train the mind. But the direction of your life is not determined by your physical strength, it is determined by the clarity of your thoughts. A mind that is not trained becomes a source of suffering, always chasing, fearing, reacting. To focus on yourself is to observe the quality of your thoughts. What do you feed your mind? With whom do you speak? What do you listen to in silence? The mind is always listening, always absorbing. So if you want peace, you must choose what you plant in your inner garden. At the Shaolin temple, we train the mind through silence, breath, movement, and repetition. These are not random actions. They are tools. Tools to tame the restless monkey within. To teach it to sit. To observe without reaction. To respond without attachment. When your mind becomes calm, it becomes powerful. When your mind becomes still, it becomes like water, reflecting the truth and not distorting it. This is when you begin to see your path clearly. And once you see it, the only thing left is to walk it. We live in a world where people are drained not because they work too hard, but because they leak energy. Worry, conflict, gossip, meaningless distraction, these are the thieves of your life force. If you want to build a powerful life, you must guard your energy as something sacred. Each time you say yes to things that do not align with your purpose, you say no to your inner peace. This is not selfish, it is wise. A warrior knows where to direct his sword. A monk knows where to direct his attention. You must become both. Focusing on yourself means recognizing that your energy is limited each day. It is your responsibility to spend it well. Ask yourself, will this thought, this habit, this person nourish me or drain me? The one who is aware of their energy becomes the master of their time and attention. And when you protect your energy, you begin to grow. Your mind becomes lighter. Your emotions become balanced. Your presence becomes magnetic. Not because you forced anything to change, but because you stopped wasting what was always valuable, your life force. We live in a time of overcomplication. We are told we need more knowledge, more achievement, more tools. But often, what we truly need is less distraction, less clutter, less noise. In simplicity, there is great power. In simplicity, we can finally see clearly. A complex life creates confusion. A simple life creates peace. At the monastery, everything has purpose. Every movement, every object, every action has meaning. There is no excess. This teaches the mind to become precise, aware, and unburdened. When you focus on yourself, simplify. Clear the distractions from your path. Remove what does not serve your growth. This does not mean doing less, but doing with more awareness. When your actions align with your inner values, your life becomes clean and direct. The less scattered your mind, the sharper your focus. Like a blade that is honed not by excess steel, but by removing what is unnecessary. Simplicity is not weakness. Simplicity is precision. And precision is the root of mastery. Pain, whether physical, emotional, or spiritual, is not your enemy. It is a messenger. It is a guide. In our training, pain is a familiar presence. But we do not resist it. We listen. We learn. Because hidden within pain is often the lesson we most need. Avoiding pain leads to stagnation. Embracing it leads to transformation. When you focus on yourself, you begin to ask, why is this pain here? What is it trying to show me? Perhaps it is asking you to let go. Perhaps it is asking you to grow stronger. Do not confuse pain with suffering. Pain is part of growth. Suffering is the resistance to that pain. When you stop resisting and start listening, the pain becomes lighter. And in that space, something new can emerge: strength, wisdom, peace. To become powerful is not to avoid all pain. It is to become so still within that you are not broken by it. You bend like the bamboo in the wind, but you do not fall. This is how we grow, not by escaping challenge, but by becoming worthy of the lessons it brings. Attachment is the root of suffering. We cling to outcomes, to possessions, to identities. And in this clinging, we lose our freedom. But when you begin to focus on yourself, you learn the art of letting go, not out of indifference, but out of wisdom. To be detached is not to be cold. It is to love fully without needing to possess. It is to act with purpose without demanding results. This is a subtle strength, the one that allows you to move through life with grace, not desperation. In Shaolin, we are taught to move like water. Water does not cling to anything. It flows. It adapts. It nourishes. And yet, it is also strong enough to carve through rock. This is the power of detachment, flowing freely, yet with great direction. The moment you let go of what you cannot control, you return to your center. You reclaim your energy. You walk lightly, yet purposefully. And you realize that the less you cling, the more space there is for peace to enter your life. When a person lacks purpose, even small obstacles feel heavy. But when you walk with purpose, even great challenges feel like steps on your path. To focus on yourself is to discover your reason for rising each day, your why. Purpose is not something given to you. It is something uncovered, like a hidden stone beneath the soil. You find it by paying attention to your deepest values, to what moves you, to what brings life to your spirit even in difficulty. In our training, purpose is not just a concept, it is embodied. It is in every breath we take, every bow we make, every form we practice. We do not act without intention. Because it is the intention behind the action that gives it power. When you find your purpose, you walk differently. You speak differently. You live differently. And most of all, you stop chasing. Because now, you are guided, not by the noise of the world, but by the silence of inner knowing. If you ever feel lost, return to nature. Nature does not hurry, yet everything is accomplished. The tree does not compare its growth. The river does not resist its course. All things in nature follow their own rhythm, calmly, patiently, with presence. When you focus on yourself, you become like the tree, rooted in your values, flexible in the wind. You become like the mountain, still and immovable, even when storms surround you. Nature teaches us the wisdom of presence and the power of surrender. In our monastery, we often walk barefoot in the forest, sit by the flowing streams, or watch the moon in silence. These are not moments of escape, they are moments of alignment. Because when you observe the natural world, you remember your own true nature. You are not here to force the path. You are here to walk it with awareness. Just as spring follows winter, your time will come. But first, you must be still. You must listen. You must return to the harmony that already exists inside you. There is a misunderstanding in the world that strength is loud, hard, and forceful. But the deepest strength is quiet. It is gentle. It does not need to prove itself because it is rooted. In our training, we combine force with flow, power with softness. To focus on yourself is to develop this inner gentleness. To speak with kindness even when others do not. To act with calm even in the middle of fire. This does not make you weak, it makes you untouchable by negativity. The bamboo bends in the storm but does not break. It is flexible. It is alive. This is the strength we cultivate, not resistance, but resilience. Not aggression, but awareness. Gentleness is not a lack of power. It is power under control. And when you become this kind of strong, calm, centered, and kind, you begin to attract peace into your life. You begin to watch everything fall into place, not because you pushed, but because you aligned your energy with the flow of life. Everything you experience outside is a reflection of what you hold inside. If you carry anger, the world appears hostile. If you carry peace, the world becomes gentle. To change your life, you must first change your inner state. This is why focusing on yourself is the highest service, not just for you, but for everyone around you. A peaceful person brings peace to the room. A centered person creates clarity for others. You do not need to preach, your energy speaks for you. In Shaolin philosophy, we train the inner world through breath, stillness, and focused movement. These practices clear the fog from the mind, calm the waters of emotion, and bring light to the heart. With this clarity, the path forward becomes visible. You will see, the more you clean the lens of your perception, the more harmonious the world appears. Not because the world changed, but because you did. This is the unseen power of inner work, it transforms everything without touching anything. Everything you experience outside is a reflection of what you hold inside. If your inner space is disturbed, no amount of external order can bring peace. But when your inner space is clean, calm, and clear, the outside world begins to reflect that calmness back to you. Do not waste time trying to rearrange the world while your thoughts remain chaotic. First, bring order to your breath. Then bring order to your body. And finally, bring order to your mind. This is the sacred triangle that governs your energy, breath, posture, and presence. As we say in the temple, before you fix the broken bowl, still your shaking hands. The same applies to your life. Before you fix situations, still your emotions. Before you correct others, center your own thoughts. Then, what you say and do will come from balance, not from imbalance. And so, as you focus inward and realign your energy, the results begin to appear outward. Situations resolve. People shift. Circumstances bend. Not through control, but through resonance. Your outer world is the echo of your inner state. Many students ask, Master, how do I change my life? And I always answer, one step at a time. The greatest mountains are climbed by placing one steady foot in front of the other. Not with haste. Not with fear. But with presence and persistence. Most people want instant change, but change is not a moment, it is a process. Every habit you release, every conscious breath you take, every time you choose awareness over reaction, that is transformation happening. Quietly. Daily. You do not need to leap across the entire river. You only need to find the next stone. Focusing on yourself is not about reaching perfection tomorrow. It is about improving one small thing today. Then again tomorrow. And the next day. This is the way. Over time, the person who took small steps with devotion surpasses the one who chased quick results. Because the foundation is deeper. The roots are stronger. And the transformation, though slow, is unshakable. Without balance, even strength becomes dangerous. Without balance, even wisdom becomes pride. The key to sustainable power, mentally, physically, and spiritually, is balance. It is the equilibrium between doing and being, between action and stillness. In martial arts, balance is not only a physical skill, it is a state of mind. You must learn to remain steady when pulled in many directions. You must remain calm even as you move swiftly. This same principle applies to daily life. Many people focus only on work, or only on rest. Only on the body, or only on the mind. But all aspects of life are connected. Neglect one, and the others will eventually feel the effect. To focus on yourself is to bring your whole life into harmony. When your life becomes balanced, it becomes sustainable. You no longer burn out. You no longer crash after rising. You learn to maintain your energy, like a candle that burns steadily, not violently. This is the fire of inner power. Your mind is a garden. Every thought is a seed. Some seeds become weeds. Others grow into flowers. The thoughts you water daily, those become your reality. The question is, what are you cultivating? If you focus on worry, fear, and limitation, those will take root and spread. But if you feed thoughts of patience, discipline, and clarity, your mind becomes a place of growth. Just like we sweep the temple floor every day, you must also sweep your mind. The sweeping happens through meditation, through journaling, through conscious breathing. It happens by questioning your patterns instead of blindly following them. When the garden is clean, your energy becomes light. You become fertile ground for peace. And as your inner garden begins to flourish, so too will your life. Relationships, work, and purpose all begin to reflect the care you give yourself. This is not magic, it is alignment. The inner always creates the outer. Often, people misunderstand the concept of detachment. They think it means to stop caring. But detachment is not the absence of care, it is the presence of wisdom. It is caring deeply without being controlled by the outcome. When you focus on yourself, you learn to release the illusion of control. You understand, I can give my full effort, but I cannot guarantee the result. I can love fully, but I cannot make someone stay. This understanding brings peace, not sorrow. At the monastery, we practice letting go, not because we want less, but because we want to move freely. The tighter you hold, the more you suffer. The more you release, the more you receive. Like the open hand that holds water better than a clenched fist. Detachment allows you to stay centered amidst change. It gives you the ability to remain stable in success and in failure. And when you master this, life no longer controls you, you walk through it like a warrior of calm presence. Every action you take is rooted in an intention, whether you are aware of it or not. Some act from fear. Some from habit. Some from clarity. If you want your actions to be powerful, first align your intention. In the Shaolin path, no movement is random. Each motion carries purpose. Even in silence, there is meaning. This is how you must begin to live. Before you speak, ask, why am I speaking? Before you act, ask, what is the root of this action? When your intention is pure, your energy becomes clean. You stop seeking approval. You stop chasing empty goals. You move with clarity, not confusion. And this is how your actions begin to create real results, because they are aligned with truth. To focus on yourself is to become deeply aware of your motives. And when your motives are in harmony with your values, everything you do becomes an extension of who you truly are. Your body is not just a machine to carry you through the day. It is your temple, your vessel. How you treat it reflects your inner respect for life. To focus on yourself means to take full responsibility for your physical well-being. At the monastery, we train daily, not for appearance, but for discipline, for presence, for longevity. Every stretch, every breath, every form is a meditation. This is how we honor life, by caring for the vessel we were given. The modern world often ignores the body until illness appears. But prevention is higher than cure. Energy is maintained not through pills, but through daily care. Movement, rest, nutrition, and breath, these are your sacred tools. When the body is aligned and healthy, the mind becomes sharper. The spirit becomes stronger. You are not weighed down by fatigue or distraction. You become a clear channel for energy, focus, and insight. This is the gift of physical discipline. In silence, we hear what the noise of the world drowns out. In silence, we reconnect with ourselves. That is why the path of inner mastery is a path that leads into stillness. Not because we are escaping life, but because we are learning to truly listen. Many people speak too much, listen too little, and reflect not at all. But a mind that is always filled with noise cannot receive wisdom. Just as you cannot fill a full cup, you cannot grow if you are always reacting, always speaking, always consuming. At Shaolin, we observe silence not just as a discipline, but as a doorway. A doorway into deeper perception. Into presence. Into clarity. When you fall silent, you begin to hear the subtle whispers of the heart, the body, the spirit. So if you are lost, don't rush. Don't talk more. Don't seek more noise. Sit. Breathe. Be still. And you will see, the answer was never missing, it was just buried beneath the sound. This is the final truth: no one will walk your path for you. No one will save you from your own habits. And no one can give you what only self-awareness can provide. The moment you accept this is the moment you gain true freedom. To focus on yourself is not an escape, it is a return. A return to the center of power. The world may distract you, but only you can decide where your attention goes. The world may tempt you, but only you can choose discipline. Take responsibility, not with guilt, but with pride. Because this is your path. Your life. Your time. Your energy. You can no longer blame, or wait, or hope someone else will do it for you. This is the warrior's path. And the beautiful paradox is this: the moment you fully take responsibility for yourself, the world begins to support you. People appear. Opportunities come. Because now, you are ready. The final truth is simple: when you focus on yourself, not selfishly, but sincerely, everything begins to shift. You begin to attract what matches your energy. You begin to feel whole, not because you have everything, but because you need less. To align with yourself is to live with integrity. To speak what you mean. To act with intention. To move through life not as a scattered being, but as a focused flame. That focus burns away illusion. It lights the path ahead. This journey does not require perfection. It requires presence. It requires courage. It requires you to show up for yourself every day, even when no one is watching. This is the path of the inner warrior, the path of silent strength. And when you walk this path, you realize you do not need to force anything. You simply need to align. And in that alignment, life begins to flow. Opportunities appear. Peace expands. And what once seemed far away begins to fall into place. Take this moment to breathe. Let go of what you cannot control. And turn your attention inward. Because when you focus on yourself, everything else begins to fall into place.